trading market on Orbital Colony 9 was always loud, dirty, and cold. Metal floors shook under heavy boots. Bright white lights burned from above.
Pardon me, I can
Traders
clean
shouted
your sword
prices.
if you have need of labor.
Hungry
Not
people
today.
pushed
Move
through the
along.
crowd. Broken
Excuse
service
me,
bots
madam.
rolled
I
between
am
cages
strong
and
and I
cargo
can fix
boxes.
things or carry those
In
bundles
the middle of
for
all
you.
that noise,
They are
one
already
alien
talking
mother stood
about
still.
value,
Her name
condition,
was Lyra.
and use.
She was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and tired silver eyes. Her clothes were old. Her hands were shaking. Beside her stood her small son, Nero, holding her fingers with weak little hands.
You
He
can't
had
just
stopped
stop
asking
me
for
here.
food 2 days ago.
I have clearance for level
hurt her
7
more than
access
anything.
right now. Move
Once,
aside.
Lyra had lived on a green world with rivers, soft wind, and warm
This
sunlight.
is extortion.
Once,
the transfer
she had a
terms are
home,
completely
a
out of
husband,
line, and I
and a
won't
life with
stand for
dignity.
it. You let
But
them
the war
go
had taken
now,
everything.
or there will be
First
consequences.
came the ships,
I
then
am
came the fire,
insisting on
then came the
station
hunger.
law.
Only she and her
These
child were
creatures
left.
do not belong on this
That morning,
level.
Nero had almost
and
fallen
you know
while
it.
walking. His face had gone pale. His lips were dry. When he looked up at her and whispered, "Mama, I am not hungry." She knew he was lying to make her feel better. A child should never have to do that. Lyra had spent the whole day asking for work. She cleaned a food stall for half an hour, but the owner gave her nothing. She offered to carry crates, but the workers
I want them
laughed
out
at
of
her
here
weak
now.
arms.
They don't belong
She
on this
begged
station.
one woman for a
That is
small piece
enough,
of bread,
citizen.
but the woman
Step
turned
back.
away like Lyra was invisible. As the station lights shifted into evening mode, Lyra looked down at her son. Nero could barely stand. Something inside her broke. With slow steps, she walked to the
This
far side of the
authorization
market,
code requires
where desperate
biometric
people made
confirmation.
desperate deals.
Of course, scanning now.
She hated that place.
Are we done here yet?
Everyone did.
Some of us have
But
schedules.
hunger was crueler than shame.
You are
She stood
blocking
under
a
the trade
restricted
lights and said the
corridor.
words she
Move
never
now.
thought she would
I will
say.
not let you touch
"I
them.
will sell myself,"
This is
she
absurd.
whispered.
Just
At first,
stun him already.
no one listened. Then
Data
they started
card
looking.
valid.
A few traders
Clearance
came closer.
granted for level
Some
4
smiled
access.
in ugly ways. Others spoke about her like she was an object, not a mother. Nero pressed against her side, confused and afraid. Lyra kept her head down. She told herself only one thing: let him eat, let him live. Then the crowd suddenly went quiet. A human man had stopped in front of her. He looked at Lyra, then he looked at the child. And the sadness in his
Please, we
eyes did
didn't
not
do
look like the
anything
hunger
wrong.
of a buyer.
We just want to go
It
home.
looked like pain.
This is ridiculous.
The
Let's
walk
go.
from the market felt longer than it really was. Lyra followed the human through a narrow metal street on Orbital Colony 9. Her son, Nero, stayed close to her side, holding her hand with weak fingers. The market noise slowly faded behind them, but the fear inside her did not fade at all. She did not know this man. She did not know what he wanted. And that was the worst
You
part.
cannot refuse an
The
order.
human carried a
Move
small food
now.
bag in one hand
I know
and
my
walked
rights.
quietly in front
This
of
is
her.
ridiculous.
He
Get him
never
out of the
pulled her.
way.
He never pushed her. He never even looked back too much.
I will
But Lyra
stand
did not feel
against the
safe.
colony if it
Kind
supports
silence
cruelty.
could still hide cruel plans. She had learned that during the war. At last, the man stopped in front of an old housing block near the lower level docks. The building was small and worn, but cleaner than most homes in that area. He pressed his hand against the entry panel.
50 credits
The door
for
opened
the
with a
whole
soft hiss.
crate.
Lyra's heart
That is
started beating
unacceptable.
faster. This
I
was
can
it,
give you
she thought.
35.
Inside, the room was simple. A metal
Fuel line
table,
retraction
2
sequence
chairs,
initiated. Power
a small
coupling at
heating unit,
90%.
a shelf
Clear
with
for
tools,
departure.
a narrow bed
Hangar
in the
doors
corner.
opening. All
It
systems
did not
green.
look like the home of a rich man. It looked like the home of someone who had just enough to survive. The human placed the food bag on the table and finally turned toward them. "You can sit," he said.
Mama,
Lyra did not move.
I am not hungry.
Nero looked at the bag. The human noticed. Without another word, he opened it and pulled out a warm bread roll and a small container of soup. Then, instead of giving it to Lyra, he crouched down in front of the child. "This is for him first," he said softly. Lyra froze. Nero looked up at her, asking with his eyes if it was safe. She gave the smallest nod she could. The child took the bread with shaking hands and bit into it. For 1 second, the whole room became silent except for that small bite. Then Nero ate faster, and a little life returned to his face. Lyra stared at the human in confusion. Buyers did not feed children first. Buyers did not speak so gently. Buyers did not look away to give starving people dignity. The human stood up and moved back a step, as if trying not to scare them. "You
Keep
are
up.
safe tonight," he said.
We need to get off this
Lyra's
street
throat
now.
tightened. If that was true, Then one question began to grow inside her mind like a shadow. If
Don't
he had
worry.
not bought her for use,
You're staying
then why
right
had
here
he
with
bought her
me.
at all? That night,
We're
Lyra did
family.
not sleep. She sat near the corner of the small room, her back against the cold metal wall, watching everything. The weak yellow light above them made soft shadows across the floor. Nero was asleep on the narrow bed, wrapped in a clean blanket.
I helped
For the
because
first time in many
someone
days,
should have
his
done the
breathing
same
was
for
calm.
my family.
But Lyra could not rest. She kept waiting for the human to show his true face. In her
It's too
life,
cold to wait here
kindness
alone.
had always come with a price.
You can share my
During the
table
war,
until the morning.
she had seen fake smiles, false promises, and soft voices hiding cruel hearts. So even in that quiet room, with warm air and food still in her stomach, fear stayed inside her like ice. The human was sitting at the table, repairing a small machine part under a dim lamp. He worked in silence, like he understood that too many words would only make her more afraid.
The more
Lyra
Lyra watched
studied him
the
carefully.
less he fit the image
He
of a
looked
buyer.
tired. His clothes were
He
plain.
was not rich.
His hands were rough.
He was
marked by
not
work and
dressed
old
like a
cuts.
station officer.
He was not a rich trader.
I said leave them
He
alone.
was not a station officer.
They haven't done anything
He
wrong.
looked like an ordinary man
Your
trying
fight
to
is
survive
with
in a hard
me.
place. That only made him more confusing. After some time,
This
he
is
stood
none
up
of your
and walked toward
concern.
the shelf.
Move away from
Lyra's
the
body
filth.
became stiff at
Final
once.
warning,
Her
citizen.
fingers closed tightly.
Do not
Her heart
interfere
jumped.
with due
But
process.
he only picked up another blanket. Without coming too close, he placed it on a chair near her and stepped back. The station gets colder after midnight, he said quietly. Then he returned to the table. Lyra looked at the blanket for a long moment.
2 days had
almost
passed
like it was
since
some
young
kind of
East
trap.
Asian boy Nero
Slowly
had
she
last
reached for it and
asked
pulled
for
it around
food.
her shoulders. It was warm. That simple warmth nearly broke something inside her. Her eyes moved to Nero again. There were crumbs near his mouth from the bread. One of his small hands rested over his chest. He looked younger when he slept, less like a child shaped by hunger and loss. Then Lyra noticed something else.
The table was worn from use.
On the table,
the bed
beside
was
the machine
narrow.
parts,
The
there was a
tools on the
small
shelf
framed picture.
suggested repair work.
In it, the human
practical
stood beside a
skill,
woman
and
and
long
a little
hours.
girl. All three were smiling, but the woman and the child were not here. The room suddenly felt heavier. As if sensing her eyes on the picture, the human spoke without looking at her. War took them, he said. Lyra said nothing. Neither did he. And in that painful silence, she finally understood one thing. He had not brought her here because he wanted power. He had brought her here because he knew what it meant to lose everything. But just as that thought entered her heart, a hard sound echoed from outside his door. Heavy footsteps. And they were stopping right in front of it.
The footsteps outside did not move. They stopped right at the door. Lyra's whole body turned cold. In 1 second, every soft feeling inside her disappeared. Fear came back like a sharp blade.
I can help move these
She
crates
stood up
for a
at
small
once and
payment.
moved to the bed, placing herself
Don't
between
be
Nero
ridiculous.
and the door.
We need
The
strong
human
hands
also
here.
stood. He did not panic. That made it worse. It meant he already understood danger. Another sound came. 3 hard knocks. Not the knock of a friend. Not the knock of someone asking politely. This was the kind of knock that carried control. Nero woke up with a small, frightened sound and quickly sat up. His eyes moved from Lyra to the door. He did not speak, but his little hands grabbed the blanket tightly. The human looked at Lyra for one short moment. "Stay behind me," he said. Then he walked toward the door. Lyra wanted to stop him. She wanted to tell him not to open it. But she knew there was nowhere to run. The room had one door, one small vent, and no other path out. If trouble had found them, it had already arrived. The human
That's enough
pressed
for
the
today.
entry
We'll
switch.
call you.
The door slid open. 2 station
What
enforcers
can I get
stood
for you,
outside
amigo?
with dark uniforms and hard faces. Behind them was a trader from the market, the
Madam,
same heavy
if you
man who had
please, could
smiled
you
when
spare
Lyra
just a
offered
small
herself for
piece of
sale.
bread?
His
It is
eyes
just
were
enough
full of
for a
anger now.
child.
"There she is," the trader said. "I told you. He took colony property without registration." Lyra's stomach dropped. Property. The word hit harder than a slap. The human's voice stayed calm. "She is not property." The trader gave a dry laugh. "Everything in that market is property." One of the enforcers stepped forward. "Sir, by station law, all market purchases must be reported and processed. If this female was
They're
bought,
with me.
ownership must be
The
registered.
synchronization data is
If
on
not,
the card.
she returns to holding.
Please, just verify it.
Lyra could barely
Are we going to
breathe.
stand here all day?
Holding meant cages. Holding meant separation. Holding meant Nero could be taken from her. Her hand shook as she pulled her son closer. Nero buried his face into her side, feeling her fear even
Don't
before
worry,
he
my
understood the
friend.
words. The human
You
did
and your
not move
child are
aside.
safe tonight.
I paid for her release, he said, not her ownership. The traitor's smile vanished. That is not how this colony works. For the first time, Lyra saw something change in the human's face. His sadness was still there.
He exploited
But now
her
something stronger
desperation.
rose beside
She
it.
sold herself so
Anger.
her child could eat.
Not wild anger.
If we let this stand,
Cold
we
anger.
lose our very
The kind that
humanity.
stands still.
It's okay.
He looked at the
You
enforcers
can
and
eat
said,
now. Don't
then
rush.
maybe this colony is wrong. The hallway became silent. Even the traitor looked surprised. Then the older enforcer slowly placed his hand on the stun baton at his belt. And Lyra understood the next moment would decide everything. For one long second,
I have paid
No
the
one
market
moved.
debt in full.
The
Her
older
status
enforcer's
is
hand
cleared.
stayed on his
She is
stun
free
baton.
now.
You cannot
the
do
traitor
this.
stood behind him
You
with a proud,
interfere with my
ugly smile
property.
as if he had already
I
won.
said back off.
Lyra held Nero
These
close, her
citizens
body
are
shaking,
under my care.
her mind racing
If
through
you want
every
them,
terrible ending.
you'll have to go
but the
through
human
me.
did not step back. He stood in the doorway
No
like a
market,
wall made of flesh
no
and will.
trader, and no
He was only
station
one
officer
man,
can claim you
dressed in
anymore.
old work clothes,
You
with
are
tired
safe
eyes and
here.
rough hands. He had no weapon.
Look at them.
No power
She was
badge.
desperate.
No rich friends
A mother
behind him.
protecting her child.
Still,
starving
he
in
did
your
not move.
corridor. Show some mercy.
She stays, he said. His voice was not loud, but it carried through the narrow hall like metal striking metal. The younger enforcer frowned. Do not make this harder than it needs to be.
You are safe tonight.
The human looked straight at him. Hard for who? For you? Or for the mother you want to drag back into a cage? The traitor clicked
You
his
can
tongue
sit.
in anger. Enough of this. She was in the market. That means she was for sale. Lyra felt shame burn inside her again. She lowered her eyes for a second,
This is
but
for
then the
him
human
first.
answered before she could break. No, he said. It means she was desperate. The words hit harder than a slap. Something changed in the hallway. The younger enforcer looked away for a moment. A door farther down the hall opened a little. Then another. People had started watching. Neighbors, workers, a few old station residents.
Don't worry.
They
this
stayed
data
quiet,
card is
but
yours.
they were listening.
It should
The
help you
traitor
get
noticed
settled.
them too and raised his voice. This is not about feelings. This is law. The human turned toward the small crowd. Then maybe everyone here should ask what kind of law lets a starving mother sell herself just to feed her child.
Get out of the way.
No one answered.
They don't belong here.
The station seemed to hold
They
its
are
breath.
under my
Lyra
protection.
looked at him in
Back
shock.
off.
No one had spoken for her before. No one had spoken for her as if her pain mattered. The older enforcer tried once more. Move aside. The human folded his arms. No. The traitor stepped forward. You think one human can stand against the colony? The human's face became still. If the colony stands for this, then yes. The words spread through the hallway like fire. Then from behind Lyra, a small, weak voice broke the silence. Please don't take my mama. Everyone turned. Nero had stepped forward, his tiny hands shaking, his eyes wet with fear. He looked at the enforcers, then at the traitor. She did not sell herself
This
because she
cannot
is
be
bad,
right.
he
The
whispered.
transfer was denied.
She did it because
the
I was
High
hungry.
Council overruled your denial, Commander.
hallway went
They are
silent
free
again.
to go.
And
Free.
this time, even the traitor had no quick answer. No one spoke after the child's words. The hallway that had been full of heat, threat, and noise suddenly felt heavy and still.
The release
Even
transfer
the
is a
station
legal
lights above
method,
seemed
traitor.
too bright for
You
that
will
moment.
comply.
This is extortion.
Nero stood close to
you
his
can't
mother,
do this to
his
her.
small body shaking. But he did not
This
hide
isn't
this
over.
time.
You can't just harbor them.
Lyra looked down at him and
The
her
sector
heart
chief
hurt
has
in a
made
new
his
way.
ruling, Merchant.
Not
Move
because
along.
he was weak, not because he was hungry, but because a child had been forced to explain a mother's love to grown people. The traitor opened his mouth, but no words came out. The younger enforcer looked uncomfortable. His eyes dropped to the floor for a moment. The older one still held his baton, but his grip had changed. It was no longer the grip of a man ready to strike. It was the grip of a man no longer sure. The human used that silence. Slowly, carefully, he reached into the inside
Here are
pocket
the
of his worn
diagnostics
jacket.
for Sector 4.
At once, Lyra's
the
body
plasma
became tense
manifold
again.
is fluctuating.
But when he pulled out his hand,
Acknowledged.
there was no
Uploading
weapon,
the calibration sequence
only a
now.
thin data card. I knew this might happen, he said. He held the card toward the enforcers. The older one took it and scanned it with a wrist reader. A soft blue light moved across the screen. The traitor leaned forward, trying to see. The small crowd in the hallway stayed frozen, waiting. Then the enforcer's face changed. His eyes moved back up to the human. "This is a release transfer?" he said. The human gave one slow nod. "Yes." Lyra frowned, confused. The younger enforcer stepped closer and read the screen too. "You filed payment under emergency life protection law?" "I did," the human said. "I did not buy ownership. I paid the market debt and cleared her status. She is free." The traitor's face went red at once. "That is not what the deal was." The human finally looked at him. "It is the only deal I was willing to make." Those words hit Lyra harder than anything else that night. Free. The word felt too large to understand. She had been standing in fear for so long that freedom almost sounded unreal. Her fingers tightened around Nero's shoulder. Her eyes filled, but she did not wipe them. The traitor stepped forward in anger. "You used a legal loophole." The older enforcer straightened his back. "A legal method," he corrected. The hallway shifted. Just minutes earlier, Lyra had been one breath away from being dragged back. Now the ground beneath the moment had changed.
Nobody
The human
is going to
turned
hurt the
slightly and looked at
child.
her for the first time since the officers arrived. "I told you," he said softly. "You were safe tonight." Lyra stared at him, unable to speak. But even as tears burned in her eyes, one new fear rose inside her heart. If she was truly free now, what was she supposed to do with that freedom? Freedom did not feel the way Lyra had imagined. She had dreamed about it during cold nights, during hunger, during fear. She had told herself that if she and Nero ever became free again, everything would be better. But
Get
now
your
that the word
contact
stood in
rods
front
here.
of her like
Best
an open
price in the
door,
system.
she did not know how
5,000
to walk
credits
through
for
it.
the data
The
chip.
hallway slowly began to empty.
Watch where you're going.
The younger enforcer stepped back first. The older one handed the data card back to the human with a quiet nod. Even the traitor, full of anger and shame, had no power left in that moment. He threw one last dark look at Lyra, then turned and left without another word. One by one, the neighbors also disappeared behind their doors. Soon, only silence remained. The human closed the door gently. No chains, no orders, no demand, only silence. Lyra stood in the middle of the small room, holding Nero close, as if her body still expected someone to come back and take him away. Her legs felt weak. Her mind was full. Too much had changed in one night. The human placed the data card on the table. "It is yours," he said. Lyra looked at it but did not move. "With this, no one can claim you," he continued. "No market, no trader, no station officer." Her throat became tight. "Why?" she finally whispered. It was the first word she had spoken to him that night.
Please, if
The
we
human
may
looked
stay
down
until
for a
we can
moment,
stand again.
then toward the old picture on the
You
shelf.
are safe here.
"Because someone
Welcome.
should have done the same for my family," he said quietly. But no one did. Lyra felt tears rise at once. There was no pride left inside her now. No wall. No fear strong enough to hide what she felt. She had sold herself to keep her child alive. She had expected pain, shame, and ownership. Instead, this stranger had given her
mean you
food,
no harm.
shelter,
Come
dignity,
forward.
and freedom. Nero looked up at her, then at the human.
My mother
we
sold
leaving now?
herself because I
He
was
asked softly.
hungry.
Lyra opened her mouth, but no answer came. She turned her eyes toward the door. Beyond it was freedom, yes, but it was also hunger, cold, and a galaxy that had already broken once. Then she looked back at the human, and at the little room that had become the first safe place they had seen in a long time. When she spoke, her voice was weak but clear. If you allow it," she said. "We would like to stay. Not as property, not as debt, only until we can stand again." The human's face softened. "You stay as family," he said. Lyra broke then. Quiet tears fell down her face as she pulled Nero close. That night she understood something she would never forget. He had paid for her with money, but he had saved her with love.